welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I'm Renee, the host of this podcast, and I'm super excited to be here. It is my 100th episode. Crazy, crazy. You never know, right? When I started my podcast, I looked up all the podcasts about ADHD just because I wanted to come up with a name and I didn't want to copy anybody else's name. And when I looked, I noticed that, there were, a few dozen or something. So I wrote down all the names of the podcasts so I wouldn't copy anybody. And then I started to see how many were still going. Were there some that were listed that aren't podcasting anymore? Some who maybe only made 5 or 6 episodes, some who made multiple episodes for maybe a year, but then they stopped. And then maybe just 1 or 2 that had a lot of episodes, and we're still going. And I thought, oh, bummer that they stopped. I wonder why they stopped. I wonder what made them not keep going. And as I've been doing this for a year and a half now, you start to see the things that can make it so you stop going. And it could be a lot of reasons that I didn't have, but self-doubt could be a big one, or even just life changes for sure. But there's a lot going into it with the quality of sound and video and all that. And if you have a lot of ideas like I do with ADHD, you keep coming up with new ideas. Like there's a new microphone here if you're watching on YouTube. How do I point? I bought another microphone that's not as high quality a microphone as this one here. The one up above is the one I'm using for audio. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, any of those places, it's coming through this black microphone. This other one is still a good microphone, but it's more of a beginner microphone. I still don't have the most expensive one, but this one I'm using for the video because I wanted a decent one for video, but I couldn't use the same one to get the quality of sound that I wanted for this one. So I'll stop talking about that finally. I think I've been talking about sound for a couple months now. My apologies. But happy 100 episodes to myself, to you. So what I thought I'd do, if you've ever had a child in school, sometimes they do this thing called, like the 100 days, and they celebrate the 100 days of school. And I'm moving that out of the way. It's making a glare. Burr, 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 burr. Anyway, they celebrate the 100 days of school in kindergarten. And one of the things that they do to celebrate is bring 100 things. So I have 6 kids. Over the years, I think every kindergarten teacher did it. And I don't know if we ever copied, but one year we just did Cheerios because we didn't always have a lot of money. I wouldn't say we've ever had a ton of money, but Cheerios, easy to gather 100 of them. Put them on a board or something or in a bag, or I don't even know how we displayed them. I'll have to ask my kids if they remember what they brought. But we did Cheerios, we did pennies, we did a lot of different things that you could bring 100 Legos, things like that. So I thought, how can I celebrate kind of like the kindergartners do and bring 100 of something? And so I'm bringing you 100 ideas for helping your life with ADHD. And I've organized them into 10 different categories. Each of those categories has 10 different things. I don't know if I'll go through all the 10 different things because we might be here all day. But what I thought I'd do is go through what I go through because, my brain bounces around. Yours might do that too. If you've got the scattered, inattentive, and hyperactive, that scatteredness can come from both. But what I thought I'd do is with each of these 10 tips, they're research-based. They also work in my life, and I'm fine-tuning them to how I think about it. And you can fine-tune it once it comes into your brain of how you think about it and how it might help with you. But what I thought I'd do is episode 101, 102, going up to 110 will be each of these 10 things. That is the most organized I've been with this podcast ever. So here we go. I'm just making sure this is still recording because honestly, I would hate to be done. And is it going? Yes, it's going. Yay. Okay. So here we go. I have a second computer over here. I'm not using a desk. I'm using a little children's table I bought on Marketplace for my grandchildren. And now I'm using it for this computer. The other one's on some yoga blocks. So, anyway, okay. First tip. And if you go to any website for an ADHD coach, they say this one tip: I will help you work with your brain. Work with your brain, not against it. Because why would we want to work against our brains? Well, if we work in a way that most other people do, we're working against our brains because our brains aren't like most other people. So if you remember that, my brain isn't the same as everybody else's. Therefore, I'm going to need to find out, how does my brain work? That takes some awareness, some learning, some trial and error. And the more you learn about ADHD, the more you'll notice, oh, I do this. Not everybody else does that. I do this, and that's probably because I need it because of the way my brain works. One example is I look at a menu before I go to a restaurant. Picky eater, that's one thing. I don't want to order something that I'm not going to like. I get decision fatigue. That can be part of ADHD, of having a hard time coming to a decision. What am I going to order? Panicking right before the the server, waitress. Who? What do we call people who take your orders at the restaurant? Waiter, waitress. Guess it could be both. And I kind of panic, and I usually say, we'll start with, you guys start over there because I don't want to start with me. And I have a hard time with that. So if I can decide that in advance, or if I can go to a restaurant that I've been to many times and just buy the same thing over and over, that takes that away. So whatever little tip you have for something, like looking up a restaurant you've never been to before, getting an idea, looking at the photos, what people say about it. It is a means of hyperfocus for sure, but it's a way to work with your brain. And some other ways are even just noticing, am I more productive in the morning? Do I have more energy to get things done in the morning or at night? And just because you have ADHD doesn't mean it will be the same for you as it might be with two other people who have ADHD. I've always been a morning person, and, well, sometimes night. If my brain won't slow down and I'm finally getting myself to do something, when you try to get yourself to do something for a long time and you're finally getting yourself to do it, and then you don't want to stop even though it's getting late and you have to get up the next morning. So that's when discipline, hopefully, it can come in to help your next day. A lot of things going on, right, in that decision. But if you are more productive at night, there's something you really need to get done, maybe scheduling that for that time. Or if you are a morning person, don't beat yourself up the day before because it's 6 o'clock and you haven't done it. Just, if you have time in the morning, if you can schedule your day so you can do that in the morning, have that be something that you do in the morning. You may even be more of a Monday person than a Friday person. Do you have a mental response, an idea of what it means to be a Monday, what it means to be a Saturday morning, what it means to be a Friday afternoon? I totally do. A Monday morning, I want to hit the ground running. I have all my new goals. I'm going to get into my routine. It's going to go this way. And I was finding this last year, I was not working with my brain at all because I had scheduled yoga classes on Monday mornings to the effect where I really couldn't hit the ground running till about 2:30. And by then, it's kind of like I'm not hitting the ground running. I'm ready. I'm ready to kind of pause and, you know, drink some caffeine or something. So I started realizing this is not working very well. I need to make a few changes in my schedule if I can, so that Mondays I have more time open to work on things and get a momentum for the rest of the week. And if you're seeing that Monday could be your day, or maybe partway through the week is the day to reset, regroup, see what you need to do. Or Sunday night, I used to plan out my workouts every Sunday night. I'd sit down and write them all down. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'd set up a little workout schedule either for the week or the next 4 weeks or the next 6 weeks. Planning can be more fun than actually doing it. But It was my time. And so if you find that there is a time that works for you to plan, there is a time that works for you to carry through. Now my planning time tends to be during church because I'm sitting still, it's quiet. I bring my planner with me. I look at the week. I like to see that visual week and see, okay, when are you teaching this week? Some of my classes change because I teach private yoga and getting a visual of that. It helps me during the week. Does it make it so I never forget something? No. And that'll be something else we can do on another step. But just kind of working with your brain and seeing on a Friday afternoon after I pick up the kids from school or I get home from work, is that going to be a time that I fold the clothes and put them away and be ready for, not have laundry to deal with on Saturday? It might not be the time, but for somebody else, it might. So, yeah, just kind of seeing how that is. And then working with your brain, sometimes you have to, kind of like Mary Poppins says, just a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So sometimes something that you're having a hard time getting yourself to do can be more pleasant if you pair it with something else. If you And you hate to say, like, one thing's more pleasant than another, but let's say it's something that's harder for you to do. So it's hard for you to sit and read a book, but you have a college course, or it's important for you to do a spiritual devotion in the morning. You want to read from the Bible or whatever scripture or whatever is your base for spirituality. And yet, sitting down to read or even remembering to do it may be another thing. Maybe there was a time in your life that you could do that, but now why can't I? Why can't I? So you pair that with something that you're going to do anyway, like driving. Find an audio version, make it easy to start and play while you're driving without distraction. Or if you don't have the dread problem that I do now with showers, and you still take a shower every day, have the audio for that if you can. I don't know if you are in college or if you have children who want to go to college or are in college. If you are diagnosed with ADHD, you can have special accommodations. Is that redundant? Accommodations, special accommodations. You can have accommodations. And at the university my son attends right now, one of the accommodations is he has an option for every textbook to be on audio. They're not always available on audio. And what this gives him is actually, or it's given him now, he'll be a senior this year, but it's given him an advantage because sometimes in a university, you get waitlisted for a class that you really need. So if you are on a 4-year track to go to school and you're on a wait list for a class that you really need as a prerequisite for a next one, then in a seniority by like juniors and seniors would get in that class first. You're a freshman or sophomore, you might not. Then it might take you longer to go to school because you can't get that class. And maybe that class is only offered winter semesters. You have to wait till a whole year later. So that can slow down schooling. But he found, because he has ADHD, because he was able to get the accommodation to get his book on audio, and he also has it in text form, paper form too, that sometimes those books aren't available and the professor will need to record it, or maybe somebody else records it. Maybe it's not the professor. When you don't know the details and so you just start saying things. So who knows who's recording it. But they need time to get that textbook recorded, which is kind of crazy to think about. Can you imagine reading a whole textbook for your job? I would have a hard time reading audibly. But anyway, yeah. So because of that, they give him early status. So even as a freshman, I think he was diagnosed with ADHD after his summer term, maybe fall, I can't remember. Anyway, somewhere during the freshman year. So from that point on, he had seniority as if he were a senior to get into a class so that that professor would know, I have someone in my class that needs that accommodation. If he was waitlisted and found out at the end, then he wouldn't be able to get that accommodation. They wouldn't have time for it. So that's kind of cool, huh? But I'm still on number one. And yeah, I'm going to just give a few more of these. So let's go back. Let's go to number two. I'm not going to give 10 for every big one. But let me see if anything else stands out. Working with your brain. if just think of anything that everyone says, "This is the best app. This is the best app for keeping me organized." You can certainly try that app, and it might be the best app for you too, but it might not. So, whatever is the best, like having a to-do list. I felt to-do list pressure for years. Don't feel that pressure to have a to-do list if it doesn't help you, if it actually stresses you out because you look at all of those things and it's hard to prioritize. Even if I do write down what the priority is, that even makes me wanna bolt and say, "But maybe I don't feel like doing that," like, kinda challenge it. So if you learn things like that about your brain, like, this is getting in the way. What is helping you go toward how you wanna be, what you wanna do, and what is getting in the way? And if a to-do list is stressful, make a to do later list. I don't even know if I have that on my website anymore. I've been working on building my new website for what, 4 or 5 months, maybe longer now. But I have a do later list as part of my focus journal that you could have. I need to get these things together too. I will. Who knows when? Anyway, so yeah, do later list. You could do that with your own notepad pad, but mine's kind of cool. So I will get it up there. I think what I have to do is with this new website format, I can only offer so many. Here's something to click on and get this. So I might just need to offer that in my emails every once in a while. Hey, want my focus journal? Or maybe just let people sign up. Yeah, who knows? I got to figure it out. Sorry about that. Use your own do later list. Anything that you have to do, those big things, write it somewhere. Put it on your whatever, however it works for you. It might be alarms on your phone. You can label your alarms. You can write, this means I'm supposed to leave now. This means I need to put on my makeup. You can label them so you're not confused. Because for a long time, didn't know I could label my alarms. I was very confused. But there is kind of that what's too little, what's too much with alarms. If you have them going off all day long, it's kind of annoying. So, at least for my brain. But Post-it notes. A lot of women with ADHD use Post-it notes. I have to have it written in a Sharpie on a Post-it if it's gonna help me, 'cause that's how my brain works. To-do lists might be your favorite. You might like crossing those things off. You might need a big whiteboard. You might need a paper calendar, a planner. You might have a little of each. I have a little of each because I don't trust myself to look at all of them enough for my brain to remember. Because part of ADHD, part of executive dysfunction is having things leave your brain that were there before, that were there for a long time. Losing track of the day can make that, like if something you knew, I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday. It's Thursday. You woke up knowing it's Thursday. You woke up knowing you have a doctor's appointment. But some point you think, oh, I'm done for the day. It's Thursday. Usually I'm done. Or, oh, I think it's Tuesday. Whatever it is, give yourself as many things that you can, as much help as you can to help your brain. Which leads me to number 2 is externalizing everything. Your brain is not a Google Doc or Google Drive. If you're familiar with Google Drive, it's pretty great. There's probably other cloud programs that people love that are Microsoft based or something. But Google Drive, when it was introduced to me, I used it in an editing job I had, and then I started seeing the possibilities because anything I write down in there is still there. I can search at the top. It's like my own little Google every thought I've had or anything that I've worked on, any rabbit hole I've gone down to figure something out. I can find that information there. So externalizing that, my brain can't remember everything, so putting it somewhere where when I need to see it, I can, whether it's something to look up, whether it is a Post-it note that you can't help but see because you'll go to your refrigerator 20 times a day or probably more. That'd be something to count, huh? How many times do we go to our fridge a day? Maybe I'll do that between today and next podcast. Do you have the curious ADHD brain where you just get curious? I wonder what would happen. Those were the conversations we had at our kitchen table. My mom would say things like, how much would someone need to pay you to drink this whole bottle of ketchup? And we'd all think about it. So we were curious about our own possibilities. That was the early Survivor days. So, yeah. So, having a planner, talked about that a little bit before. Some people color code their tasks, that helps them. Reminders on your phone, whether it's through Google Keep, I've heard is good, or reminders, or who knows what. Learning more about technology on your phone is really valuable if you don't lose your phone, if you keep it. Having a watch, a smartwatch, an Apple Watch, if you use an iPhone, is so helpful. I don't have mine on. I don't always remember to wear it, but it helps me not miss important calls or texts from my kids because I never have my ringer on. It helps remind me of my alarm if I don't have my phone by me because I might not hear it. So as much help as you can give yourself that, externalizing the capacity of your brain. And yeah, you can make checklists. Do you like checklists? That's something that some people like. If you're going to be packing for camping, that was always helpful for me, is to have a checklist. And then I could check it off and check it off and check it off and see what else do I need. Making your own checklist for traveling. There are a lot of them online, and hopefully not forgetting. Do you forget things when you travel? We used to do a lot of road trips when our kids were younger, well, probably the whole time they grew up. And I realized at some point that every single trip, about 5 miles away, I would remember what I forgot. It could be underwear, it could be a toothbrush, it could be anything basic, but there was always something, always something. And then you go, oh, you know. It could even be the one thing that was on your mind right before you left and thought, "Oh, I need to get ibuprofen," or whatever it is, and then someone asks you a question, and yeah. So, your own brain even just try to help. But yeah, voice memos, I don't really well, okay, I have. Have you used voice memos? I've made them. I've only listened to them a few times. So, any system is as good as it's set up that you'll actually use it. But asking other people to help you, but really that's not fair because I've had people say, like, "Don't let me forget." And that's before I knew I had ADHD. And so if I say to someone else, "Don't let me forget," it's not really fair to them because they're trying to remember their own things, right? But yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So I'm not going to give you 10 of everything. I'll give you at least 10 thoughts for everyone because I'm already realizing I am at number 3, and I won't go through every step. I'll save those for 103, 104, 105 of my podcast. But number 3 is to break down what's big into something smaller. Whatever it is that you need to do that seems really big, just find one step of it and start with that. And even if you don't do any of the other steps today, and you might need to repeat that same step again, it'll help build that ability to, if you're going to get from 1 to 10, at the end of the steps getting somewhere, you'll eventually get there by taking 1 or 2 small steps. And sometimes that could be, I need to clean the kitchen. Well, I'm just going to unload the dishwasher. And you just unload the dishwasher. And maybe that is all you have time with, but that helped because then it's easier the next time someone walks in the kitchen, whether it's you or someone else, if they think, "Oh, I can load this into the dishwasher." Hopefully they're thinking that. But it's one less thing to do later. If it's something of a multi-step process, especially if it's one that you don't understand, it's a home improvement thing, you want to clean all your windows and you're not sure how to do that. I always thought cleaning windows was, putting the spray in and wiping the windows, but my husband understands that you can actually take them off and clean all around and stuff. And there are a lot of steps involved with that. So sometimes just taking the step to learn the process, whether it's watching a YouTube video or reading about it. I don't do as well with video instructions, but That's another thing, going back to understanding how your brain works, right? Like, why am I going, "Ah?" Like, every time I watch a video with instructions, I think, "That's not helping me." I don't know, sometimes, but it's very rare. I have a hard time waiting for the instruction that I need, and then I have a hard time with them z just zipping by the one thing I need to understand. I have to keep going back, and I think, "Ah, but now I have more questions." But whatever step you get yourself to do, congratulate yourself on that. That was hard to get that word out, but congratulate yourself. I'm gonna stop saying that. Tell yourself that it was fantastic that you did that step. Maybe you have a big mountain of laundry that you want to have put away. Just bring it into your room. It'll help you find things. Or take all the towels out and just fold the towels and put them away. Towels are so much easier to fold. And I think it's kind of fun actually. But something that's fun, take the fun step out and just do that. And then it's easier to find your socks, even if you don't put the other things away. Or just hang some things up. Make it a little bit easier for you in your life. Get one more thing done and tell yourself that it's fantastic and wonderful that you did it. Give yourself that little reward. And even just telling yourself out loud what the step is, okay, all I need to do is walk in that room and put some clothes in the washer. Or all I need to do is pick up the phone, the dreaded phone calls, like handling, like, I got to figure out this insurance thing. I need to just find the number on my phone and I need to just sit down and do that. Start each little step. Sometimes it just is what gets the whole thing done, right? Number 4. In psychiatry world or coaching world, they call it body doubling. I don't love that term. I know I probably complain about it a lot. It's just not cute. It's not cute in any way. Accountability sounds better to me, but finding someone that you can be accountable to, and it doesn't even need to be a someone. It can be stating it doesn't have to be, so body doubling means doing it actually with that person, like co-working, like, let's meet outside the coffee place where they have Wi-Fi. We'll get a table. I started doing this when I was a yoga teacher and wanted to develop the business side of my yoga teaching. So we would go meet at a little coffee shop, sit together, say hello for a few minutes, order some tea or coffee, whatever, and then we would just sit and work for a few hours. You get a lot done when you do that. A lot of that is done now through Zoom or co-working on YouTube. There are different ways to do it. Zoom is nice because you see all the other people, or you just see their little picture and they're there. Sometimes you get to know me right on the, little chats and you get to know each other or something. That's how a few of my guests that I've had on the podcast, I met them through a Zoom chat of a co-working session. Maybe it was a Q&A. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So co-working can make you sit down and do it. It can make you go and do something that you want to do. It doesn't even have to be working side by side on your computer. It can be inviting a friend over. I'll help you clean your yard if you help me clean my yard, and you come do it together. Working in groups, I'll talk about that on 104. But there are ways to do that are actually in person or even just working out. If you know that you won't go to that class unless somebody meets you there and you tell someone you're going to be there, or even the instructor. I've become friends with a lot of fitness instructors and just saying, see you on Friday. That's enough for me. That gives me that accountability. It's not actually the body doubling, although you could say everyone in that class is body doubling with you because everyone who walked in there, they're all accomplishing that workout along with you, which is kind of cool, huh? So yeah, there's a lot of ways to do that. But even just checking in with someone and just saying, I'm working on not eating as late. I'm going to stop eating at 7 o'clock at night. Let's report to each other each night at 7 and see if we've done it. And then again at 10, see if we actually did it. Whatever it is, you can set goals together or even just set your own goal and help each other with it. Making it fun, giving little rewards. It can be fun, and then at the end, we'll do this. So number 5, creating routines. So daily things that you do, like daily routines that make it so you don't have to stop and make a decision. You don't have to stop and figure out, what am I going to eat for breakfast? Do I even want to eat breakfast? When am I going to eat? Should I grab something on the way out? Maybe you need variety when you eat, but if you don't, streamline it. Maybe you think that I don't want to ever not eat pancakes again. Save that for the weekend. But maybe Monday through Friday, your breakfast is a smoothie that you make the night before. Or there's so many things. Have you made overnight oats? They have some in the jar. I haven't liked those as much, but you can do baked oatmeal. I guess that's not technically overnight oats, but they're baked oatmeal. Okay, I'm getting confused. It doesn't get as big as a muffin, but it's just as filling. And you take the oatmeal, and there's different things you can put in it that are natural if you want it to be natural, like a little bit of maple syrup and some pumpkin and some spices. I'm trying to remember what else goes in there. But you just bake it, and you have a bunch of cups, and I always put chocolate chips in too, but but you just grab a few and you get that energy. So if you're impatient with your breakfast, or you don't do as well eating early and you need something to grab and go, make it in advance when you do have that energy. Maybe on the weekend before, a lot of people do their preps on the weekend or in the evening. Maybe I'll do that kind of thing. But having the same breakfast, lunch, even dinner. I I've gone months with just eating popcorn for dinner. Not the healthiest, I'm sure, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, streamlining those things that you don't have to make a decision about. Or one of my favorites is just choosing what clothes you're gonna wear the night before. One thing that really helps my brain, and I would think it would help you too, is when your brain isn't pressured, like, "I need to do this right now," it's easier to make the decision. So if you make it as easy for your brain as you can, and that's making a decision in advance, like, what should I make or what should I wear? And you look and think, oh, I could wear this or whatever. It's a lot easier. And then you just set it. So in the morning, that just becomes part of the routine. It doesn't take any of those steps. Maybe even, you know, wearing the same earrings all week long, but on the weekends, maybe you wear something different. So making little decisions like that that might simplify your life, or maybe not wearing earrings anymore, or whatever it is, that simplifies. If you like a lot of accessories, go for it. Go for it. I'm more of a minimalist with that. And then if I showed you my shelves in here, I'm not a minimalist with decorations. I'd rather have a shelf with a lot of books. I've tried to like do what my daughter does here with a few books and a few decorations if you're looking in my library on YouTube. But a lot of my shelves have all mine, my husband's favorite little things from when we traveled or whatever. There's like 20 things on each shelf. To me, it's not maximalist, but someone commented on it once. Not in a negative way. They liked it, but I thought, oh, okay. But yeah, even streamlining, your like when you go somewhere and you have to go to the UPS store, when it's on the right side of the road, on the way there, on the way back, making that part of the routine. On Mondays, I'll do my returns on my way home or stop at the pharmacy or whatever. Automating anything you can online with recurring payments or bills, or there's so many things you can automate now online. Even buying groceries. It'll save your past grocery list if you do grocery pickup or delivery. Yeah, it makes life a little easier. Yeah, I'm gonna just skip through some more of those, but practicing compassion for yourself. So that is a big one. Number 6, how can you do that? How can you, and how would that even help? So if you have framed how you are, or other people have framed how you are, as your report card maybe once said when you were young, talks too much, and maybe your kids grow up and they're not as accepting as they were when they were little. They look at you like you're talking too much. And you start thinking, oh, I talk too much. That's a negative connotation to yourself. It's one thing if other people give it to you, but are you giving that to yourself too? If you can reframe that and tell yourself, I just love to share. I love to talk. Maybe everyone doesn't. It brings me joy. And maybe I can curb that a little bit and maybe notice when it's more appropriate than others. but not feeling bad that you do or when you do, especially if you have impulse control problems, not feeling like, gosh, why can't I control that? Why can't I not want to volunteer to raise my hand all the time and participate? You may be able to control that more as you notice it and practice it. I've set little rules for myself, like only say something one time or two times or whatever that is. But, and what's fun about that is it makes you be more choosy, like, "Okay, is this so important? Because what if something more important comes up in my mind and then I don't get to use that one? I don't get to talk about that one." But whatever those things are, a lot of people talk about, like, "Oh, you procrastinate or you're lazy," or maybe they're not saying it, but you feel that way because you're comparing yourself to other people who are able to get so much more done. So, not only changing the words that you're saying, but even just coming to some realities like, yes, I could have a fabulous looking garden too if I prioritize that and spent this many hours outside every day. But if I did that, the other things that I'm doing wouldn't get done. And maybe if that becomes your priority and those other things are fine not getting done, or you could pay someone else to get that done, that's fine. But just know that everyone has the same amount of hours in the day. And whatever they're doing that is so fabulous and wonderful, and you wished you were doing too, maybe you could, maybe it's not the way your brain works and you can't do that anyway. That's fine. But it's all a decision and just kind of giving yourself the grace of, yeah, I really don't want to do that all the time. So I'm okay with not having as beautiful a garden or a vegetable garden like she does or something. So telling yourself that you're okay if you're not doing what other people are doing and recognizing times that you've tried or worked towards something. And if it hasn't worked out because it's not something that gels well with how your brain works, recognize, hey, I gave it a chance, or I was even aware enough to know not even to try that. That could be good too. But talk to yourself as if you're talking to a friend, a child, someone that you love, and give yourself that support and try not to get too discouraged with mistakes, errors, if you have the klutziness, if you spill things, if you whatever, all those things. It can be challenging if you forget things a lot and you've come up with every little external thing you can have. It is impossible to keep every thought in your brain or a lot of thoughts in your brain that you want to. So if you find that you are so organized, you plan things out the night before, you have all this stuff together, you're even leaving 5 minutes early so that you won't be late, and you get out to your car and you're thinking, "Where's my phone?" Like, I have everything but not my phone, or where's my wallet or whatever. Thankfully, if you even have that self-awareness, tell yourself, "Hey, at least you remembered now." Phones are kinda easy to remember if you prop them up and have them or plug them in or something in your car, you can recognize you don't have it. But a lot of times, the thing that we would think was the most obvious thing to bring with us is the thing that we don't have because our brains are busy doing the other things. So just telling yourself, "Yeah, this is frustrating. Yeah, I'm recognizing that now this 5 minutes has turned into 7 minutes, and now I'm not early anymore. I'm a few minutes late. But I'm doing the best I can, and it's part of me. It is a part of me, and I'm going to know that this is going to happen." That's one message I want to get out in my podcast more than anything is there is no cure-all. There are methods that help a lot of people. Coaching, accountability for me is the biggest thing that helps. Understanding, awareness really helps, but it's never gonna be just a straight s I'm just gonna be able to set every goal and keep every goal. There will be ups and downs just like in real life, and it might be a higher climb for you because you have ADHD, but it doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that you're not good at something. It just means it doesn't mean you're lazy. Any of those things that you might even hear your doctor say, "Well, some people think that this," or, the ADHD doubters, they come in all forms. They come in they come from everywhere. And just know that you are you. You're unique. You're amazing. And it's not just about what you get done, even if getting things done does make you happy. I like getting things done, so that does bring me joy, but I need to be okay when things don't work out because life is not not 100% good. It's more 50-50. Maybe it's 60-40. Maybe it's something something for somebody else, but it's not always gonna work out. So once you recognize that, and especially know that these little imperfections will creep up all the time. You'll be talking to people, you'll think you have it together, and things will be falling and dropping on the floor. Not always your finest moment, but just do what you can. Literally, like it's your child, and you're saying, it's okay, just keep going. You are amazing. I love you. Tell yourself that. So let's go to number 8. Speaking of that, okay, so some people talk about ADHD superpowers. I don't even know how long I've been talking. How long have I been talking? Not too bad. I've done hour long. I haven't done longer podcasts. I don't know if I've done a longer podcast that long. Maybe I have since I've moved downstairs because I was so distracted by how this was here. But anyway, yeah, this one will be, it's my 100th. Hey, I realized before I got on here, I don't know if you watched the Taylor Swift New Heights with Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey. And Jason Kelsey's intro was just over the top, yelling and excitement and fun. It's kind of a football player that I remember in high school guy doing. I thought my 100 won't be like that energetic. If I showed my energy, I'd be doing cartwheels and dancing to some music, but I am excited. So back to number 7. So ADHD, often people talk about what is your strength? They talk about it being a superpower. You have something that's even greater because of these things that are challenges. And sometimes that word superpower helps people, and I would think it would help a 4-year-old boy. Yeah, because he wants to be a superhero. And it might even help a 55-year-old woman. Yeah, I've got superpowers. If you think, no, I don't have superpowers, like, don't tell me that. I think you still have strengths. You still have strengths. You still have unique ways that you can contribute to the world, that you have. I talked, I think, in my last episode about your level of genius. And it may not show up in genius like it's going to measure on a report card. Like, I am going to get like recognized in a gold medal for this. It's more of where do you just feel so much joy when you go in that direction and you find that you can just do this. It's just a natural thing for you, and other people might comment on it, and you think, "Oh, it's nothing because it's just natural. Like, this is what I do. This is, that's not a problem." For them, it might not be that easy because it's your strength. It's your way with children. It's your way with horses. It's your way with organizing things. It's your whatever that is. You can do that. That is a strength. And so, whatever your strengths are, whether it's something anybody else recognizes or I can do this pretty easily. I can organize things, or I can drive on long trips and I can be the driver. I mean, it could be something like that. It could be just like I like the mellow moments of, a long road trip, and that could be my strength. Whatever that strength is, it might not be helping the world in that situation, but it might help you in a job. So whatever your strengths are, it doesn't just have to be to how do you contribute to other people or other beings, other animals, the earth, on how you take care of the earth. Just think of all the people you've met in your life that are so different, and everyone has something about them, except for the really mean people. There are a few mean people I haven't found the great things about, but they have something about them that is really great. Maybe the mean people do too, and I haven't found that. But anyway, yeah. So notice what your strengths are. Be aware every once in a while. It can just be something subtle. Like, once I get going, I actually can really focus. Maybe that hyper focus is something for you. Or maybe I'm not one of the people who naturally has empathy for other people, but I can be the leader on the hike while the other people talk to each other and bond because it's supposed to be a bonding experience for this class or whatever. Like, I can just be the endurance person who looks and knows where to go. I have a good sense of direction. Whatever it is, lean on your strength instead of thinking, I need to do it the same way as other people. This is what they want to do. And the older you get, you start to realize I don't need to do everything like everyone else wants me to do. Even with in jobs, the older I am, I can see a difference as a yoga teacher in what I will accept or not uh, in working conditions and things like that than I would have maybe 20 years ago, where I'd think, oh yeah, this is what you need to do. It's like, no, maybe I'll go work somewhere else. So yeah. And then finding people in your life who complement your weaknesses. Maybe you're not good with money. Maybe you're not good with paperwork. Maybe you're not good with, and you have a friend who is, and they can help you with that. Or, taxes, that kind of thing stresses you out. You can lean on people paying them, or you can even just find friends, maybe your spouse, and you benefit from each other's strengths instead of trying to do it all. So number 8. 8. This one's a lot like the other one. I'm going to have to come up with another one, honestly. Well, okay, maybe it's not the same. I'm thinking it's the same. It's setting up visual cues, and I guess I was thinking it had to be the same as externalizing everything, like your reminders. So those are all the reminders and stuff, or even just, uh, yeah, patterning thing. Anyway, okay, let me go back. Sorry. Thank you, thank you. Hello. I'm gonna cut that part out maybe. It's harder to cut stuff out of a YouTube because I think it's more noticeable, but I know people do it with fancy editing and stuff. But okay, so visual cues. So these are things besides notes, reminders, alarms, that kind of thing, calendars, that make it easier for you to function. And let's say let's say for me, I made a shelf by my door to the garage where I put my sunglasses. Most of the time, I know grab your sunglasses when you walk out the door, but I see that on the way out the door. That helps me remember. And the placement of it is nice because if I forget, I don't have to go very far in the house to grab them or go look for them. So, any kind of visual preparedness, whether it's a visual cue or it's preparedness, you could have your keys. They have the little key hooks by the door. But maybe you don't want to put key hooks and have a bunch of keys by your door. So you have your keys in a bowl on the counter as you walk out. We used to have one in a bowl made of soapstone that my uncle gave us when he lived in Africa. But maybe you don't want to have that out. Maybe you have a drawer where you keep your keys or whatever it is, whatever your organization is, your keys are already in your purse. That's fine. That's going to help you too. Are you going to remember your purse? Have that close to the, whatever it is. But if you need to drink a lot of water, the preparedness, the streamlining the system is really good. But having that where you can see it, your water bottle, oh, I should drink my water. Oh, I should take my medicine. I started doing that with my ADHD medicine because that's one of the things. If you have to take it more than one time a day, are you going to remember? Do you want an alarm going off all the time? That's what I used to have, was my alarm telling me it's time to take my medicine. And I hated it. I thought, stop. Like, I don't want to hear you all the time. Don't disrupt me. But I bought the cutest little medicine, pill holder thing that's at the Vera Bradley. The Vera Bradley store? Yeah, at an outlet on my last trip. So that's my new thing that I look at it and go, oh, did you take it yet? And it's in my Tuesday or my Wednesday or whatever. So it helps. But yeah, any kind of visual thing that can help you, even if you're not working out very often and you did set out your clothes and then you get up and you haven't developed that habit, which might seem kind of silly, but it does make a difference if you don't think about it. Like our last house, the last 2 houses actually, the last 2 places that we lived, if I left my bedroom, I had to walk by the family room, which was where I worked out, and I could just have my water bottle up. I'd fill them up and have them upstairs, my clothes, and I'd just go straight into the family room and do my workout. But I had to pass that room to go anywhere. In this house where I work out, it's upstairs. I have been so inconsistent for 3 years. I've been working out since consistently, like religiously, since 1996 and sporadically before that, like religiously. Like I said, I used to plan out my workouts every single night. Since I moved here, the room's upstairs. And yeah, I know it's up there, but I don't walk past it. It's not a visual cue. I mean, I moved my spin bike in here so that I'd see it. It's covered with a blanket right now. This is a problem. So, noticing the problems, noticing why did it work before and why is it not working now? Make it hard to ignore. Maybe I should put the spin bike out there in front of the fridge so that in the morning I grab my water bottle, get on this. I mean, it's really not a bad idea. Main thing is I don't want grandchildren, like to get caught in the pedals. Anyway, any kind of visual, anything that can help you. My friend does this, and I actually thought it was a problem, but now I can see it. Sorry, Sherry. So I used to go to her house, and in her kitchen, she would have some boxes or something. Like it was cluttery, by her table, by the stairs and stuff. And so we'd always help each other clean and stuff. And so I'd take them, and I was going to move them into the office. The office is like 3 steps away, and you could shut the door. That's what I like to do. I like to hide the things that are are cluttering the room. If I have a pile of laundry, I put a blanket over it because it looks prettier than seeing all the laundry. So anyway, I remember one time saying, "Oh, I'll move these over here," and she's like, "No, no, no! I keep them there so I'll know I need to do it, and then it'll make me do it." And now that we both know we have ADHD, I can see that was her visual cue. So high-fiving Sherry for that. Good job. So yeah. So number nine is giving yourself any kind of rest, recovery, rejuvenating that you can. We talk about that a lot for our bodies, but what about our brains? And, brains are part of the body, but we think of, we need to rest at night. We need to sleep. That's also, helping our brain, right? We exercise to rejuvenate, to strengthen, to get the cardio, all that with the exercise. But we also know it boosts the serotonin, right? So that helps our brains. The recovery, what is that like? Like when you are maxed out, what do you need to do to recover? Sometimes it might be sleep. Sometimes it might be go take a walk. Sometimes, like mentally, what do you need to do to rest, recover, rejuvenate? Think about it for your body. Also think about it for your brain. When your brain is feeling completely maxed out, do you hit those points? It might show up with anxiety. It might show up, who knows how, like extreme fatigue. You are not able to function very well. It happens more to me when I'm in public, I think, and I'm trying to do multiple things at the same time. The credit card, the phone app, the wallet app, even Disney World or something, you have to like, oh, get this out of my pocket. And where is it in my backpack? And it's like all those steps for my brain are going too fast for my brain. And then I feel pressure because the person's right there. They don't care, I'm sure. There's people behind me, maybe they care. But all of those things. So what can you do when your brain gets maxed out to help with that? Sometimes just shifting the idea of what your day needs to be like. Let's say you're at Disney World, Disneyland. Not everyone goes as often as I do. Well, probably some people go more, but I've lived in California now. I live in Florida, so I'm going tomorrow, actually. But you don't always have to be going. You don't always have to be walking to the next ride. You don't have to always be thinking of the next plan or on your app making the next plan. You could be just sitting down. You could just, maybe not just sitting down in a crowd of people who are waiting to see the parade, but finding somewhere to sit and just watch people, look around, whatever it is. I love going late at night. My youngest son, I've gone quite a few times with him, and he always likes to do the strategy where the line doesn't close until, like, so if it's open till midnight, it closes at midnight. So if he gets on the ride at 2 minutes till, 1 minute till, whatever. So he'd go on certain rides as many times as he could the last hour, and a lot of times solo rider, you just get to go on. And I'd use that time as my recovery, my rest my body, do some yoga. Like, no one's around really. There's hardly anybody around. The you go to Fantasyland and all the kids are gone and stuff. So you could go, sit in a teacup or something. At least at Disneyland, they have a sample teacup. I don't know if they do at Disney World. They have a sample Dumbo. But if you haven't been to both, the Dumbos at Disneyland are way prettier because they're shiny, but there are 2 sets of Dumbos at Disney World, so that's nice because the lines aren't as long. And at the Dumbo at Disney World, as you walk in, they have a big tent circus play area for the kids. It's air conditioned. You can rest, recover, rejuvenate there with your kids while they play on, like, little fun zone play structure things. So that's good. But whatever your Disney World experience is, if you start to realize I need some downtime, find a way to do that. The teacups are cuter at Disneyland too. You can see for yourself, but I think they're a lot prettier at Disneyland. The way they're painted and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So take time and notice. Noticing, awareness are huge to manage your ADHD. And then making little changes. All of these little things involve making little changes to your routine, your system, the way things are organized, or if they're not, and I know it's hard because organizing and changing your system is really helpful. But sometimes getting yourself to do those things is hard. But finding time when it doesn't matter, like the night before, or kids have gone to bed and you think, you know what, instead of watching TV, I do love to watch TV. Instead of watching TV, could I go in and make some baked oatmeal? And it would last me the next 4 mornings or something, and you can freeze some, you can, bring it with you, all that kind of stuff. It can help you out for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week. Number 10. I know other people know how to pause and drink some water. I'm coming up on an hour. And I haven't drinking any water, and I need to. That's my rest, recover, rejuvenate. But I'm going to keep going. Okay. So the last one is however you can have a support system, whether it's friends, family, professionals. Maybe you talk to a counselor or a coach. You have a group coaching system or group counseling situation. My daughter got to go to group counseling in college. If you have college students or you are in college, see if they have group counseling because you can do it. At least she did. I mean, this was post COVID, so they were doing a lot on Zoom, but a lot of people still are, is they did group counseling. And whether they have one for ADHD or they have one, maybe anxiety is a part of your ADHD, or rejection sensitive dysphoria, rejection sensitivity, whatever that is for you, group counseling is really helpful because maybe not everyone in your friend circle understands what you're going through. Maybe nobody in your friend circle does or your family. Yeah. I do that big breathing stuff because I just see all the time of, like ADHD isn't an excuse. It's no one's saying like, oh, because I have ADHD, I need to do this. They're not saying it like they're a victim. They're just saying, I'm understanding my brain. It's kind of an exciting thing. I'm realizing I need to do this differently than I have before, or it's okay if I do it differently than someone else. And maybe people are tired of hearing people talk about ADHD, but let them, let them be that way. Okay. Yeah. Pets. Do you have any pets? I don't, but I like seeing nature. Nature could be your support too. Just we had a frog on our window the other night. My daughter showed me it was on the other side, but just watching the frog was calming. Maybe it's not supporting like my my ability to organize, but it was calming at the end of the day. If you have pets, your pets could be part of your support system of just helping you get that rest and recovery. Because each of those other 9 things that I talked about are part of your support. And so if you have a friend that you can talk to about it, you have family members that you can talk to about it, even if it's just here or there, it can be validating. It can be wonderful. If you have someone like me, you can always email me and say, I just, made a whole lasagna and I dropped it fell flat on top. I did that once. Oh, that was back when I actually used to make lasagna from scratch. I'm not the noodles or anything, not the pasta, but, actually did the layers. It's kind of fun, but then, there's some pretty good frozen lasagna, so why would I need to do the other anymore? But yeah, any kind of support that you can have and sharing your needs. It might even be with a stranger. You don't have to have it. I mean, not that you have to just go talk to strangers on the street, but I mentioned in one of my episodes that I was at the doctor's office and I had to advocate for myself to get the support of that person because she was saying, here's this pile of papers. And even if you filled out paperwork many times, so many places will have you fill it out again because maybe they have a new computer system. They're having you help them with their work. They don't have to transfer it. Who knows? But she handed me a bunch of things and said, bring these back. I was doing lab tests. Bring these back in your visit next week. And I'm like, oh, do you know the possibility of that actually happening? Of me taking this, not forgetting I put it in my car, ever making it into my house, ever getting filled out and ever brought back. Like there's so many possibilities of where that could just not happen. It could leave my brain. And so I stood there for a little bit and I just said, oh, I don't think I'm going to remember to do that. But can I just fill it out now and give it to you now? Can you put it in the file for that doctor's appointment? And she said, sure. So getting support any way you can. Like I mentioned with my son, he gets audio versions of textbooks. You're part of a book club and you've been struggling reading a book. Maybe you've always struggled with reading a book. I was an English major. I used to read books left and right, not anymore. But now I listen to audios. The only time that I was able to read a whole book in the past, I don't know if it's been 15 years, probably not 15 years. It happened sometime maybe 12, 13 years ago, but it was during Hurricane Milton last year because the power was out. And I just kept thinking, I can't do this, I can't do that. There's a lot of things you can't do if the power's out. We have a generator, but we were just using it for our fridge and the popcorn popper. Maybe I used it for the Vitamix. But can't use it for entertainment. We don't have cellular here, so we couldn't even use our phones for anything. We had to drive away if we wanted to do that. So I pulled out a book and I read it for probably an hour. I was shocked. But then I don't know if the grandchildren were here, they needed something when the power came back on later. I haven't gone back to it, but I want to. So anyway, I think that is it. I know I'm past an hour. I've got to be do. Ooh, I am. I should have stopped right at 100 minutes. Maybe I could edit it to that, but I'm going to resist the perfectionism, the tendencies that I have, and not do that. Not make it 100 minutes. But thank you so much for being here. I will be back. I'll make another one. I keep saying that, but that is my goal. That is my accountability to you. I want to get back to 2 episodes a week. I'm going to Disney World tomorrow, but I think I can make another one before I leave so that we have 2 this week, 2 next week. I want to get in the swing of that again because that's what I enjoy, and you supported that, and I thank you for that. My request to help me get more support, more viewers, maybe more people reached who can be supported in their ADHD is to share this with anyone you know who might benefit from it. And even if you don't think they have ADHD or they don't think they might have ADHD, I have people on my mailing list when I send my emails who don't have ADHD, but they have similar symptoms from their anxiety disorder or something else. So might benefit someone else too. But thank you so much for being here. I will be back. Bye. Okay, I just realized that I was saying 100 minutes. I could edit it to 100 minutes. And I looked as I actually was editing, just trimming, and I was looking at the 1 hour 00. That's like 1 hour 0 minutes. That's what I meant. And maybe I will try that, but I probably won't. But I just had to say that a lot of times after my podcast, I'll think, oh, I didn't say this, or I think I messed that up. That's life. That's life. But thanks so much. If you caught that, yeah, I just caught it too. Bye.
Frozen dreams are left for tomorrow. Without a cause. No time for a pause. The silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me.